you can't put ourselves into one box. We have a lot of things going on. We're mom, we're Mimi, we're leader, all of those things. And that's what just has really helped me to just stay true to who I am.
Surround yourself by people that you can have your good days and your bad days with. They become accountability partners. They're those people that stand up and say, okay, really, Kim, you can do this.
We as women have that special skill that even if we don't have it figured out, we can still go with our gut, and usually it works out. And if it doesn't work out, I think we have the superpower of we do know how to pivot. Welcome to Wired, Stories of Impactful Women podcast, where we spotlight bold, brilliant women shaping the future of commercial real estate, business, leadership, and beyond.
I'm Kimberly Downs.
And I'm Heather Luce. We're the voices behind Wired, that's women in real estate development, and your hosts for honest, empowering conversations that go way beyond buildings.
Every other Wednesday, we sit down with women of influence, entrepreneurs, innovators, and change makers to share their stories, insights, and the unfiltered truth behind their success.
So whether you're building a business, growing in your career, or carving your own path, you'll find connection, mentorship, and real-world tools right here.
This is Wired, Stories of Impactful Women podcast. Welcome to the Wired podcast. Today we have Cyndi Garza out of Sarasota, Florida. Welcome, Cyndi.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. But this is a true honor for me because Cyndi Garza was my business coach for many, many years and started out at a mortgage company. And then we went on to one of her companies, which is Optimize Success, which we want you to tell us a little bit about where you're at, where you started, how you got there. You've been somebody that I've admired for years in just the way that you have been such a great mentor for women.
Well, thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate it. And I definitely started in the mortgage business as a mortgage loan officer and quickly realized the need for great leadership. I could see people around me just really struggling with the leadership we had at that time. And so I actually went back to school and finished my degree and worked on just really studying management and leadership. So I really dedicated my career in mortgage banking just to be a leader that people can count on and I could help them grow. And during that, I always had that spirit for entrepreneur life. And so I bought a couple businesses, started a couple of businesses along the way. We had I purchased Mortgage Girlfriends, and that was so fun with all the women. And then the coaching company, that just was natural. And then I got to a season in life where I felt like I've done a lot of the same things and I wanted something different. And I wanted it really light, just not heavy at all. And was working through a lot of grief. I lost 3 family members in a short period of time. And it was hard on me. So I decided to retire from the mortgage industry. And my daughters suggested that I start an online boutique because I had always wanted to do that. And so I started doing that. And then that's grown into a whole new business.
So when you have pivoted from one industry to another, was it the leadership skills or what was it that helped you stay consistent?
I would say it was the leadership skills. That has always helped me. And I'm curious by nature. And so I like to learn about the other industries. And sometimes when I would start to just feel a little burnout or tired of what I had been doing, that was a good time for me to just kind of have a growth spurt and put my hands into something else. And initially it felt like that old saying, what is that? Like, jack of all trades, master of none. And that would like burn in my brain. But when I sat down and started like mind mapping, I just kind of put myself in the center. And then I just drew like rays of light, like the sun, shooting out. And this was, Mortgage Girlfriends, Loan Officer Magazine, leadership coaching, boutique, like all those things that it's like, you can't put ourselves into one box. We're really, we have a lot of things going on. We're mom, we're Mimi, we're leader, all of those things. And that's what just has really helped me to just stay true to who I am. And then that relates to others, and it's a good connection. I think we all crave that connection.
If you had to think of one thing that you have taken away from each industry or each thing that you've been in to pass on to other women and other people that are, wanting to be entrepreneurs or wanting to be good leaders, what would be something from each job or industry that you think you have taken away?
Or into others. We kind of get caught in our head, just like even, should I start a podcast or should I go online? Should I say anything? And the more we can just get out of our own head and give that back to others has really just excelled in so many ways for me. And like I had mentioned earlier with the grief, that was the best thing to help me, is just to pour into others. And I think at times like that, you feel just the opposite. You think, oh, I got to just pull back and be inward and really think this through. But it's been the opposite for me. The more outward I go, the better I feel. And so it's a little selfish. I'm pouring into others, but it's making me feel really good.
I'm a big believer that there's a lot of receiving and giving. Like you say it's selfish, but I think it's just kind of our human nature to take care of other people and to try to help them using our skill set to help them build theirs. But with that being said, we always try to ask women this, like, you're a highly motivated person, obviously, but how do you pour into yourself so you don't get so burnt out? You don't constantly feel like you're going the uphill battle of staying the course,
Yeah, that's such a good question. As much as we want to inspire and help others, we have to look, all right, when's my downtime? Like, I have this new business I absolutely love. I could be here all day, every day, but I purposely said I don't want to shift. I just want to be able to go in and work at it when I want to. And so I don't go in on Tuesdays. I don't go in on Thursdays. I don't go in on Sundays. Those are my days to be with family, to do my long walks, to get my workouts in, to plan my meals. All of that is what brings balance to me. And I think if I wasn't giving myself those days, I would just be a stress ball in my job every single day. And I used to believe, well, that's an extra day. I can work harder. I can get more done. And it's been just the opposite. If I give myself that discipline, it's almost like a little discomfort at first to allow me not to be in it every single day and just to shut down. I'm so much more productive and enjoyable to be around when I am.
Yeah, we can't pour from an empty cup, right? We always have to take care of ourselves. So
yeah, my cup's full.
I know you guys are familiar with each other, obviously, through your Optimized Success coaching business. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more on that and tell us how that started and why you love doing that.
We all kind of have our natural gifts, and that was something that I always brought to the workplace and really helped people excel and grow, and had great success with it. And I wanted to be able to offer it outside of just my workplace. And so that's when I opened Optimized Success. That was, I think, 12 years ago. And we just continually work on it. It's funny, after they usually go for about 6 months, each group. And we do a download after that. And we learn just as much as, the beautiful individuals that are in the coaching program with us. But one thing that we've really kind of honed in on is, it's business coaching, it's leadership coaching, but you have to bring all of the elements of life into it. It's just, we're not one dimensional, and like, you have to have that balance. You have to take care of you. And it's just been such a sacred place with the vulnerability. I think leaders feel lonely a lot. You're taking care of the team, and then you're reporting up to somebody above you typically, and you feel alone. And that's where I feel like we found our sweet spot, is they can bounce stuff off us. We can help them. It's almost like that aunt and uncle that love you just as much as the parents, and they're going to guide you the right way. That's how we view the coaching. And I just would never stop doing that, because it's how I grow. And I know we're really making an impact helping others grow.
I love that. It's definitely, I completely relate to what you're saying. I own my brokerage. I own a real estate brokerage. And so I have my agents, who is are my team, but they're not necessarily my peers. The problems that they have, the struggles that they have in business and stresses they have are not the same as what I do as owning a brokerage and owning a building and, working on this side of it. So I've actually found a group. It's called the Indie Broker Group. It's just like a monthly meetup. And it's exactly like you're talking about, where we get together, we hold each other accountable, we support each other, but we were able to bounce ideas off of each other in a way that isn't necessarily with somebody who reports to us or I report to, And so I think it's a really important piece of being in an industry, a professional industry, and for your own growth as a business person.
Going forward, what piece of advice would you have for women, especially who are wanting to take that leap in whether it's entrepreneurship or even seeking some, coaching for leadership, or for women who are wanting to be good leaders in their industry? When you coached me, I remember you say, just pick three things, and you'll accomplish them. So what would be a takeaway, or the three really good pieces of advice that you would give to women wanting to do those types of things?
I would say number one is really good coaching. And, obviously we have optimized success coaching, but we see that when people are seeking out consulting, coaching, it ends up improving all areas of life. We start out with how do I get my team motivated or more productive? But it ends up just really touching every piece of their life. And we've had just such great success with that, would be number one. Number two is something kind of fun that I did is I tried to think back when I was young and things I really enjoyed when I was young that I would lose track of time. And it was just I can't believe it's already this time of day. And it felt like for about 15, 20 years, I was kind of missing that piece. And something simple like I loved it when my mom and all my aunts would come over and we would sit around a table and just drink coffee and chat about everything. Probably a little gossip in there, all of that, but just fun, honest, humble things. And so I brought that back into my life, and it took, little steps. It wasn't just overnight. It was a step in the right direction. So as I thought of that, every Wednesday I would go to a coffee shop and work from the coffee shop. And it just brought a good feeling to me to be able to bring that in. And 5 years ago, if you would have asked me, I would have never known this is where I would be in owning a coffee wine shop and get to do this every day now. But it's just those little steps in the right direction. So I would say, coaching, think about where you lose track of time, and then you don't have to have it all figured out. Just take a step in the right direction. But that accountability with coaching is big.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
How would you guys answer that? That same question. I love that question. I'd love to hear your answers.
Number one would say, surround yourself by good people. Surround yourself, I call it my tribe, and surround yourself by people that you can have your good days and your bad days with. They become accountability partners. They're those people that stand up and say, okay, really, Kim, you can do this. It's not that hard. You're having a bad day. We all have them. Keep going. Number two, I think one of the things I've learned over the last couple of years that I try to encourage women is you don't have to have it all together. I live in the one day at a time, and tomorrow's a new day. So I think we have to have it all figured out. And I've learned over the last couple of years, you don't. So
that's good.
Yeah. I think going back to kind of what you said about you have to take care of yourself first, right? Because for me, it's working out. If I don't work out and move my body, my head's not clear and I just can't make decisions like I normally would. And I just don't lean into that intuition that we as women really, have, that special skill that we have, that even if we don't have it figured out, we can still go with our gut. And usually it works out. And if it doesn't work out, I think we have the superpower of we do know how to pivot, and we do know how to say, okay, well, that maybe wasn't the right step, but I'm going to try this instead. And that all comes back to taking time off, respecting my boundaries, spending time with family, and actually taking care of myself first. So I do think accountability partners help. I know Kim is an advocate for me to go to the gym because she knows how important it is to me, which I appreciate things like that, because because my trainer's the same way. She's always like, not too pushy, but like, hey, are you coming tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, I should. So I will. And I'm always happy I do. Like for me, I've never regretted a workout, but I think it's just really taking care of yourself and trusting your gut and just knowing that you don't have to have it all figured out. Lean on people that, you look up to and trust, and just kind of go from there.
I love it. Great answers.
We see a lot of people that, have that entrepreneurial spirit. What is something that, like a piece of advice that you could give that might help them to not make the missteps that I think we've all probably done at some point?
I can tell you what I did is, so if I look at this new venture, which is a luxury boutique coffee wine bar, which had nothing to do with anything that I've done. And there's, that was just a big leap. But what I did is I reached out to people who have been successful doing that and pick their brain. And it was so beautiful. I met this woman, and she had a very successful boutique for the last 40 years. And I just went and visited her, spent some time with her, picked her brain, calling her all the time. And then she happened to notice I built a great team inside our boutique in the coffee wine bar. Like we opened, and 2 weeks later, I went on vacation for a week. And so she called me and she's like, stop right now. How do I do that? And so then I was able to help her kind of realign her team and set it up in a way that she could lead. And it's so fun. Like you said, connecting the dots. But if you're starting a new venture or a new business, I would reach out to people that are successful doing it. I mean, there's a handful that I reached out to and they're like, well, I'm not going to tell you. And those aren't my people, right? But I did find so many people, and I still am constantly reaching out. And then, somebody will share a name and there's always a connection. But I just love that I was able to help her just as much as she's helped me.
Definitely. And like you said, it's that market research that you did, right? You put boots on the ground, you went to the coffee shops, you checked it out. You don't realize you're doing this, but you're probably doing a vibe check while you're there. And you're like, this is what I do want my place to be like or not be like. Yeah. And you just learn from that. But it's so cool that you're able to help somebody like full circle like that. I love that.
I know it was. I was like, yes, of course, call me. I'll walk you through all of it, the hiring process, what to look for. I mean, did that for 30 years. So I have that dialed in.
Yeah. It's just about sharing resources and sharing skills. And just as women, we collaborate, I think naturally. Mm-hmm. Some people are competitive, which is good, but I think we're more collaborative than anything. And I think that is what makes women awesome. So
that's awesome.
Well, you're doing it with your podcast. That's what's really cool.
Trying to connect people and spotlight people like you and share your stories and, just get more eyes on some of the awesome stuff that's going on. Do you have like an ideal, I know you kind of said you work with everybody, but like an ideal clientele that is kind of your sweet spot of who you really like to work with?
There's kind of two ideal clients that we like to work with. One is that middle manager that may be struggling a little bit with who they report to, because I don't think everyone understands you're leading that person just as much as you're leading the ones that report up to you. So we really love to help connect the dots there and build a strong, healthy relationship with upper management and lower management. An example is we had a group come on and they're just handed their goals for the year. And they're expected to get the team to perform those goals. And they didn't get a say. They didn't get to say, this is what I think my goals would be. And so we were able to work with them and kind of reframe all of that in a way that was really conducive for them to get the team on board and for them to feel good about it. And the other is, like a regional senior leader type where you have these big teams reporting up to you, and how do you orchestrate all of that? And how do you, find, as Kim mentioned, like your tribe, and we work with them to build those strong leaders around them. And we just have a great example of that recently where we have been coaching a woman to find her replacement. And at first she was just taken back by that. But now as her career is soaring and she's going into that senior level leadership, she was like, 6 months ago, I would have never, without coaching, thought to find a replacement. I would have been threatened by it. And now I'm already looking for my replacement in my new role.
Well, I know that I did coaching at the very first mortgage company I was ever at. And that's where I actually met Cyndi. And she was my business coach. And then it was at the end of that coaching that I was struggling because I remember telling her, I'm like, okay, I am doing all of the things that in the corporate world marked X, Y, and Z. And I know how to do all those things, but there was still this struggle. And it was through going through Optimize Success that I realized that struggle was because I was only tackling the corporate check boxes when it came to coaching, not incorporating the whole person. And so that's one of the reasons I am such a strong believer in not just business coaching, but personal coaching, because it wasn't until I was with Optimize Success and it just wrapped everything into one big package. And I was like, okay, this is the key. You've got to bring it all there. And so I know that just from my own experience, that was just an amazing part and kind of like that aha moment business wise for me.
Definitely elevates you, right? It seems like that's where it all starts, the dots start to connect and it takes you to that next level. So if anybody was interested in your coaching or coming to visit, even your new boutique, like how would people get a hold of you?
Yeah. The boutique coffee wine bar is called CU Boutique, and it's the letter C and then YOU boutique.com. It's named CU because I thought about every woman that I've ever been around, and every single one of them has had a season where they didn't feel seen. And that's the foundation of our whole setup here is when you walk in, you feel seen and noticed for the good you bring. So that would be the best way. And then my email is really easy at cg@cyu.love.
Well, thank you so much, Cyndi. I know you're busy and you have to move on to another appointment. So we just appreciate your time and all that you had to offer. And we're excited to come down and see your wine and coffee bar.
Come visit.
Yeah.
Heather, so nice to meet you. And Kim, I just love you, adore you, and everything that you bring to this world. So thank you both.
Nice to meet you.
Thank
as well.
you. Have
Congrats
a wonderful
on
day.
everything.
Thanks for listening to Wired, where Kansas City ideas come to life.
We hope you left today with something useful, something you can act on, share, or carry forward.
Subscribe to our show so you don't ever miss out.
And if this conversation matters to you, chances are it's going to matter to somebody else.
We'll catch you soon, right here on Wired.